on planes. Anyway, now let's move on. You may well have been a student, or you may be one right now, or you're a parent of a student. Well, listen up, because you may well know very well that it's very difficult and often quite stressful to find somewhere to live at a college or university, and it can be a bit of a gamble at times.
Yeah, I know it all too well. And the number of university-level students studying abroad has more than doubled since the turn of the century. It's now at about 4.1 million.
The number one destination is the United States with more than 1 million. That's followed by the UK with almost 500,000, and China is nearly 400,000.
Well, figures for the UK suggest that the average international student spends $18,000 a year, and that excludes what are often hefty tuition fees.
And a large part of that goes on accommodation. Student.com is a website that helps those students find somewhere to live in more than 400 cities around the world.
Well, Luke Nolan is the co-founder and chief executive of Student.com. He's with us now. Nice to see you. Welcome
Morning,
to the
Luke.
programme. So we can see the need. I certainly could have used this when I was a student, trying to find somewhere to live. I was back in my university city this week, actually, and looking at where I used to live, and some places were pretty dreadful. But this is a way of matching beds and rooms to students. How did the idea come about?
Good question. I had been living in China actually already for about 6 or 7 years, and of course spent a lot of time doing business with Chinese all over the country. And the question that kept cropping up was, my son or my daughter is studying abroad, where should they live? And very often, of course, with the explosion of international student numbers around the world, universities haven't been able to build more housing. So people are looking for a safe and comfortable place to live with great people. And
there's a big move away, isn't there, from... It always used to be guaranteed that if you went to a university in many countries, you would be guaranteed, at least for the first year, to live in some university-owned accommodation. But so much has now been farmed out to the private sector that that's not always the case.
Correct, exactly right. So very often universities will try and give some kind of guarantee, but it's not always possible for them.
Now, you started this in 2011, and it was very focused on students coming from China to other countries, but now, as we've mentioned, you're in 400 cities around the world. How do you manage that? It sounds like a colossal task, especially to guarantee that those landlords that are providing the accommodation are okay.
Correct. Very interesting point. In fact, it's very important for us to align ourselves with high-quality landlords who care, just like we do, about the safekeeping and well-being of students and the whole student experience. So we spend a lot of time. It is time-consuming, but it's something that we care deeply about.
Where do you make money? What's the business model?
So the service is free for students. We make money from our landlord partners. Our landlords, of course, are looking for access to market to students on a global level. So we take a margin from the rent that the student pays.
Okay.
And in terms of the logistics of it all, I mean, you say you take great care in making sure the landlords are all right and everything else. Just talk us through how that works. You've got something like 100 staff, is that correct?
We've got about 180 people in about 19 locations, and they're split between our source countries and our destinations. So it is indeed relatively time-consuming, but it's an important part of our business model.
You've had a lot of investment. Over $70 million has been ploughed into your company. Has anyone looked at you and thought, we want to buy you? You're a great .com, and we're looking to buy you, or anything of that nature?
Sure, great question. I mean, we get approached a lot in terms of discussions about all kinds of investment. Me personally, I mean, as a founder, of course, I'm having the best time of my life building this business. You know, it's something that I run the company as if I'm going to run it forever. But of course, you know, strategic discussions are always interesting to have.
Luke, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Best of luck with it. Luke Nolan, co-founder and chief executive of Student.com.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Right. There's plenty more to come.